Well, hello there. It's good to see you. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of setting up your podcast on Transistor. I'm excited to walk you through this process, and I hope it helps you out. So you can see that I have a few on here already. This was one that I imported over from a previous show that I did called In the Boat with Ben. The one that I'm going to be setting up today is called In the Boat with Ben and Rachel. It's kind of a relaunch of that old podcast, but I'm not going to use this instance of it. I'm going to set up a brand new one. So I'm going to go over here to add a show, and I'm going to create a new podcast. Podcast title will be In the Boat with Ben and Rachel. I forgot to write a description, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Actually, I just remembered that on our website, intheboatpodcast.com, I have a description, so I'm just going to copy that over. Now I'm going to add the podcast artwork. That was quick. All right, we are going to leave that episodic. Primary category is going to be, this is always the hard part because I have trouble figuring out what category fits best with what we talk about. So I'd say even though we talk a lot about creativity, most of what we talk about falls in the category of entrepreneurship and business and productivity. So I think we'll do business, entrepreneurship, and then as a second category, we'll do education, self-improvement. I can always go back and change these later. I'm going to leave the copyright blank. I'll put in the website, intheboatpodcast.com. English publishing time zone is Central Time. Show owner is also going to be Ben Tolson and Rachel Tolson. And I'll just put my email address in there. All right, I think that's it. Now I can create my show. Boom. All right, so it's telling me that it's been added successfully. And before I add the first episode, I want to go through each of these tabs just to kind of see what's going on in here. I'm assuming that when I click on episodes, yeah, it's going to kind of give me the same thing. Let me look at distribution. Look at that. It's already got our RSS feed set up. Oh, and a distribution checklist. Have at least one published episode with uploaded audio file. That's handy because obviously before you can publish your podcast, you need to upload an episode. Okay. Oh, wow. So obviously, because this is a brand new podcast, I won't have any analytics, but I love that they show an example of what it's going to look like. This is so clean. I want to break down by episode, by different podcast players, map of where people are listening. This is fantastic. I think this is probably one of my favorite things, the average downloads per episode, and it breaks it down by the time period to give you an idea of how soon after you publish people are actually consuming your podcast episodes. Now I'm going to look at team. I suppose I could actually add Rachel to this one as a member or as an admin. I think I'm going to add her as an admin. That's great. So then she would have access to all of this as well. Now I'm going to click on campaigns. This is really interesting. So I don't know much about dynamic content campaigns, but I can learn more here, and it takes me to a support page where it talks about campaigns and dynamic audio insertion, the video. Very cool. This is nice. It's very comprehensive. So I don't think this is something we would do immediately with our show, but eventually if we wanted to insert ads, I know I can come back here and I can be taken through the process of how that works. Close that. Oh, nice. So I can add all of our contact information, social accounts, Google Analytics. I'll come back and I'll do that later. Let's check out integrations and see what we've got. Very nice. So we can connect to MailChimp, ConvertKit, Drip, MailerLite, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, Klaviyo, which I've never heard of before. And finally, website. Set up your podcast website. So Transistor actually provides a website for your podcast. So I've got a website for a podcast, but I could also do an In the Boat podcast, and I could point people there. So that's another way I could do that. Save. Oh, and I could add a custom domain. That's pretty great. So if I didn't want to have to manage the website on my own with WordPress, I could manage it through Transistor. And it looks like here's where you'd set up your content for the website, images. Oh, and you can look at the theme and design here. Oh, cool. You can set the colors, custom CSS, and you can create pages and add links. That's actually a lot more than I thought was going to be here. I thought this was just managing my podcast, but it looks like you can actually do everything here if you're running a podcast and you want to have a place where your episodes will live and you want to tell people where to visit and manage it from one place instead of having to go to another CMS. Now I'm going to look at settings, and this just takes me back to the information I already filled in, but it looks like we also have some advanced settings here. Yeah, I can manage a lot of the advanced settings for the podcast. Now I'm going to go to episodes and I'm going to upload our first episodes. So the first one, I don't remember the title for, but I'm going to go ahead and drop in this episode. Oh, okay, here we go. So I'll type that in as it's uploading. What to do. And while I'm waiting for that to upload, I can also put in the episode summary, and I'm going to leave this because it defaults to the authors of the podcast, but we can change that if we have guests or something like that. The keywords will default to what I set as the keywords for the episode, but I can change those if we add something specific in an episode that we don't normally mention in our keywords. We can set an episode type, and we can do episode artwork for the specific episode. And okay, so this is just a short summary that I probably use the first few sentences of the actual description and the show notes and everything like that. So I'm not going to add those right away, but it looks like, and they have some formatting options that's helpful. And after your episode has been created and saved, you can add a transcript. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this right now. And like I said, I'll go back later and I'll add in some of the more detailed information. But this is great. Oh, and now that we've added the episode, we can look at the episode settings. We can edit those things that we've already looked over. And then we can also look at ad locations. So you can go to a specific timestamp, put in an ad. This is really handy. So this is how the dynamic ads work, I suppose, is when you go, as you're listening through, there's a natural breakpoint and you find that spot and you click on this and it inserts a new ad for that spot. And here you can upload or paste your transcript. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add the 2 more episodes that I have finished editing. So I'll do that real quick. Now that I've got 3 episodes in there, I'm going to go here to distribution. Looks like I can now submit my show to all of these places. So I'm going to go through and do that. Okay, so I knew Apple was a little bit complicated, so I'm going to check this out. All right, instead of doing this specific part of the process, I think I might make a separate video for how to submit your podcast to Apple with Transistor. X that out for now. Add to all of these other ones. I mean, this is fantastic because everything's just listed right here, and all I have to do is click the green button all the way down. I will probably want to go through these ones as well, make sure that I have the information in here that I need to submit to these ones. And like I said, we'll come back and work on the Apple one as a separate thing. I've submitted my show for distribution. Now I'm going to go back down to the website because I want to check this out. So I'm going to preview the website. Oh, and look at that. intheboatpodcast.transistor.fm. So I've got my latest episodes here, and if I had more than these episodes and whatever number of episodes will show on the page, I could click on this And this actually takes me to the episodes page. The subscribe button takes you to different feeds where you can subscribe. And if I click on an episode, it just brings it up and you can press play right here. What's really interesting to me is that a lot of times and it has this little player down here. And I'm assuming if I leave this open, especially up until recently, I think I can go to different pages and it stays down there. Very nice. All right, I'm going to go back to episodes because I wanted to see something. If I click on the three dots over here, of course, the edit button, and then share, I want to see what the share options are. Okay, look at that. So you can just share a link or the direct MP3 download. There's embed, and you can embed that into your website. That's pretty handy. Oh, and there's a dark theme. Thank you very much for that. Yes. And then finally, you can go to analytics for any episode. One listener. Was that me? I don't know. Oh, and you can compare it with other episodes. That's pretty great. All right, so I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to walk through the process of setting it up for the first time. I needed an excuse to actually publish this thing because I've been sitting on these 3 episodes. I've got several more that we've already recorded, ready to edit so that I can upload those as well. I'm excited that this is actually happening, that these are going to be available. In fact, as you watch this, you can probably go to any one of your favorite podcasting apps. It'll be there. You can download these episodes. So we talk about creativity and productivity and balancing family and work and creative passions, all from the perspective of myself and my wife, Rachel, who are creative people raising a family of 6 boys. We hope that our perspectives and our experience are an encouragement and at the very least, help you feel less alone in your creative struggles. Check it out, intheboatpodcast.com, or you can go to intheboatpodcast.transistor.fm and you can check out our show. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.